Have you ever had a summer where you actually rested, like genuinely stepped away? You slept in, you read something that wasn't school related, you got outside, and somewhere around the middle of July, you started to just feel like yourself again. And then September came. And within 2 weeks, maybe less, you were right back in it. The exhaustion, the bracing yourself before you even walked in the door, the feeling of being behind before the day even started. If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you because I want to talk today about teacher burnout. Not in the self-care and bubble baths way, not in the you need to set better boundaries way, but in a different way. The way that asks, why does this keep coming back? Why doesn't rest fix what I'm dealing with? And what is actually going on here? Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. You know, I see you. You're struggling to keep your students' attention. You're frustrated with the fact that you don't have any flexibility in your content anymore. You've tried the typical hacks and it just didn't really work out. Maybe you're tired of repeating directions 12 times a day, tired of students blurting out and shutting down. Maybe you're tired of feeling like your creativity has to live in a tiny corner because there's just no time for that. And maybe you're wondering if you can even do this job for another 5, 10, or 15 years. You're not crazy. Things have changed. You're not failing. You're actually a really good teacher. Heck, you've been at it for quite some time, haven't you? And you're definitely not alone. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. Look, I want to show you why my reset framework can get you to the place where your students are paying attention, engaged, self-regulating, and actually learning while you're teaching. I want you to stop piecing things together. I want you to stop looking around for the answer because I think you may have found it. I want you to start looking forward to going into school every single day. I'm going to help you to reset your classroom and we're going to improve student behavior in the most effective way. All right, so are you in? Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset and see if this is the thing you've been looking for. So I want to start this conversation about what is really going on right now. An honest conversation about this cycle that so many teachers find themselves in. A cycle that I was in, honestly. A cycle that hundreds of teachers I've worked with have also been in. And it's a conversation about what it actually takes to get out of it, not just get through it. So I want to start by saying something that I don't think gets said enough. What you're carrying right now at the beginning, the onset of summer, is a lot. And I don't mean that in the bless your heart, teaching is so hard kind of way. I mean actually a lot to handle. The fact that you walked into summer depleted and then you may be looking ahead and thinking you're just going to start a whole new school year and still be depleted. The fact that you've tried things, genuinely tried them, and watched them work for a week or so and then just kind of fall apart. The fact that somewhere in the back of your mind on the hardest days, a question has crept in that you don't really let yourself think about too long. What if I'm just not cut out for this anymore? I want you to hear me. That question is not evidence of anything wrong with you. It is what happens when a person who cares deeply, and I know you care deeply, I know that about you. It's when someone like you keeps pouring into something without getting the right support back. It's not a character flaw. It's not burnout from weakness. That's exhaustion from doing hard work with inadequate tools. And there is a real difference. And that difference is exactly what this episode is about. Here's an image that I actually keep coming back to. I want you to think about a time that you're in a car with a slow leak in one of the tires. You might not even notice it at first, right? The car, it drives okay, a little bumpy maybe. Maybe it's a little harder to steer. So you just keep on driving and you keep on driving. And then one day you realize you've been dealing with a tire that is actually leaking. And you probably need to get it fixed, right? Now here's the thing about a slow leak. It doesn't just suddenly appear. It's been there for a while. And you just keep on driving on it, things are gonna start to happen. Maybe you start compensating for it without realizing it. And then you come to that point where you realize, okay, now I need to do something about this. I think about that when I think about teachers and their burnout, because most of the teachers I work with, they aren't burnt out in one dramatic moment. It's not like the tire just all of a sudden popped. Instead, teachers become worn down by months, sometimes years of driving hard with something that's just not quite right underneath them. So then the question isn't, how do I toughen up and keep on driving? The question actually is, what is wrong with the tire? So here's what I want to walk you through today. 3 signs that what you're experiencing isn't just burnout. It's what happens when you're running without the right framework. Because I think that when we name this correctly, we can actually start doing something about it. So, sign number 1 is that you're managing behaviors all day, but nothing changes long term. So you redirect, you give consequences, you try and fix things that are right in front of you, but then the next day the same thing happens. It's the same student, or it's the same dynamic, or it's the same thing draining your energy. And here's what I want you to notice about this pattern. It's exhausting. And it's exhausting not because you're doing it wrong. It's exhausting because you're patching that same hole over and over again without addressing what's actually underneath it. Most of us were trained to respond to behavior. We were not really trained as well to build the culture that prevents behavior. When behavior management is just a collection of responses or redirects or consequences or systems or charts, there's nothing really underneath it to hold it together. Every day starts becoming its own crisis to manage, when what you really want to do is start building a culture in your classroom on purpose. And most behavior problems, they aren't truly discipline problems. They're actually belonging problems. And belonging is not something that you manage. It's something that you build. It's something that you build intentionally as you create more and more of the culture you want inside your classroom. And that comes from having the right framework underneath everything to really bring that culture that you're striving for. All right, sign number 2 is that you've tried things that work for a while, but then they fell apart, right? It might be a clip chart, a reward system, a regulation corner, a calm down corner, the strategy that you got excited about at a PD workshop, and then you implemented it on Monday and watched it fade away by Thursday. And every time something didn't last, what did you do with that? Well, if you're like most teachers that I know, you added it quietly to a running list in the back of your mind, right? A list of things that just didn't work. So let me tell you what that list actually tells me, all right? When I have teachers that come to me and they just are able to list all the things that they've tried, that's evidence that you were given and you have tried so many strategies, but you tried those strategies without a framework, without the architecture that your classroom needs to make those strategies hold. Think about it this way. A strategy without a framework behind it is like a shelf without a wall. You can put something on it. It'll hold for maybe like a minute, but the first time any real weight lands on it, it can fall. And then you're standing there wondering what you did wrong, right? Well, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that the shelf needed a wall to actually be a solid foundation for it. The reason the things that you've tried haven't really lasted is not that you lack follow through with things. It's not that you chose the wrong strategies. It's that there was no framework underneath them to hold them in place. Now let's take a look at the third sign that what you're experiencing isn't just burnout, but it's something else. And it's something that you can actually have some control over. All right, so the third sign is that you're exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. This is one I really want you to hear because I've lived through it. So many teachers have lived through this. This one is the one that actually tends to scare people because when you've had a break, a real break, like a summer break, and then you still come back to school in the fall depleted, when rest doesn't restore you the way that it used to or the way that it should, that can feel like something is fundamentally wrong. And here's what I want to tell you. Now, from 27 years in a classroom and from working with hundreds and hundreds of teachers who have been exactly where you are right now, that specific exhaustion, the kind rest doesn't even hold a candle to, that's not a wellness problem. And it's not a sign that you need to leave teaching. Because I know you're a good teacher and I know that you love teaching. You probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you didn't love teaching. That kind of exhaustion is what happens when you're problem solving every single day without a solid plan, without a solid framework that will support what you need to do in the classroom. When you're reacting instead of leading your class. When you're making hundreds of micro decisions about behavior and regulation and emotional climate with no framework telling you what comes next. That is decision fatigue. That is emotional output without a system to hold it. And the right framework doesn't just change your classroom, it changes how much of yourself you spend getting through the day. Does that sound familiar? I'd genuinely love to know which of these 3 signs sounds most like where you are right now. You can come find me on Instagram or Facebook at The Inspired Classroom and actually tell me. I love reading messages from teachers. Now, here's the thing. The problem is not you, right? You are not too tired. You are not too far gone. You are not the wrong teacher for your students. You have been working without the right framework, and nobody ever handed you one. And I'm not talking about your credential program, right? I'm not talking about your district's professional development. And I'm not talking about, finding all the fun things on Pinterest. I'm talking about an actual framework that you can work from. One that connects everything. Student regulation, classroom community, creative engagement, and your own renewal as a teacher. That's what my reset framework gives you. And if you want to take a peek at this framework, you can go to theinspiredclassroom.com/roadmap. Inside that roadmap, you will get all 5 steps of the framework that will lead you to finding that structure that you can start building from If you've felt that slow leak for a while and you're ready to actually fix the tire, this is going to be the framework that helps you. If you want to walk into the fall with something real underneath you, this is the framework that is going to support you. So again, I want you to go check it out, theinspiredclassroom.com/roadmap. It will give you the entire framework that will bring the best out of you and your students. Listen, there are 2 teachers living inside you right now. The teacher that you've probably been lately, right? Reactive, maybe guarded, maybe just getting through the day. And there's the teacher that you know you actually are. The one that can reach the kid nobody else can reach. The one who builds a classroom that students want to be inside. The one who gets to the end of a lesson and thinks, dang, that was good. That was really good. And that second teacher, she's not gone. She's been running a slow leak. And slow leaks, they have solutions. So go check out the solution that I have for you, the reset framework that I have laid out for you in a plan in a free PDF, the reset roadmap. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/roadmap, ROADMAP. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.